Up+Adam.
Tractor systems are offline.
We are Beyond FM.
Beyond FM.
The future of broadcasting is here.
Up+Adam with Adam Montiel. It's community content from Concentrate. It's Up+Adam with Adam Montiel.
Some say life is where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Yes, some say life is just where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again.
Happy Friday. You made it to the weekend. Thank you so much for being Up+Adam. My name is Adam Montiel. Excited today. We're talking about travel today. You know, it feels like summer weather, even though we're about to hit spring this weekend. This guy, today's guest, he spends his life chasing the moments that most of us miss. The ones that don't make the itinerary, they don't show up in the guidebook, and they definitely don't go as planned. Daniel Scheffler, host of Wayfinder, life-changing travel. He isn't just talking about where to go. He's exploring why we go in the first place. From losing a teddy bear at 4 years old and discovering what loss feels like, to sitting under African skies or getting stranded in a random Canadian town and finding something better than the original plan. His journey is less about the destination and more about the discovery. And that's why he's a really interesting guest. And here's where it gets good, because what Daniel reveals is that the best travel moments, the ones that actually change you, are the ones you can't buy, can't plan, and can't control. You know, whether it's a morning walk with a friend in Madrid, or howling with coyotes in Joshua Tree, or sharing wine that, maybe with someone back home, he's really redefining luxury as more like space, time, and freedom rather than 5 stars. So coming up, we're not just talking travel. We're talking about what happens when you put the map down, trust your instinct, and let the world surprise you. You'll also love his voice and his accent. He's a really cool dude. Can't wait to introduce you to him. Before we do that, this guy for sure knows what a bidet is. When you hear his accent, I know this cultured man must be all about a bidet. I am all about a bidet. We've talked about it here, and I want to tell you about my friends at Porta Bidet, because when you travel, it's the worst, because you're like, I got so used to this, and now you're telling me what? So that's why I love my friends at Porta Bidet. They have this thing called the Traveler, and this isn't some little water bottle squeeze Amazon situation. This thing mounts to the toilet, but in seconds, with no tools, no plumbing, real pressure, real control. Charge it with your USB. It's ingenious. It's ingenious. 5 levels, 3 modes. You can even fill it with warm water. It's basically bringing your home comfort into a hotel, Airbnb, cruise ship, wherever you're going on the move. They crushed their Kickstarter. They're shipping, and we're officially partnered. So you can go to adamontiel.com. You can also go to the links in the show notes and learn all about how to travel better, feel better, and stop pretending toughing it out is normal. Porta Bidet, you're welcome.
It's Up+Adam with Adam Montiel.
I will also talk to Robin Coleman. She is from the Woods Humane Society. We got a twofer for you. And I don't mean just because we got Robin and Daniel, because we got 2 dogs today to talk about, a bonded pair. Now let's get into our guest. This guy doesn't just travel the world, he translates it. Daniel Scheffler, host of Wayfinder, life-changing travel. He's a veteran travel writer featured in the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and Forbes. This guy's been around, but he's doing some really incredible stuff. And what he's doing now goes a lot deeper than destinations. His podcast explores the beauty, even the blunders, and the unexpected moments that actually change you. The ones you can't plan, but you never forget. Daniel, great to chat with you, man. Thank you for being Up+Adam.
Of course. Up+Adam anytime.
So, most people, they travel to escape, but your work suggests something deeper, which is exciting, that the real journey begins when things don't go as planned. When did travel stop being a getaway for you and maybe start becoming a mirror where you saw something about yourself that you couldn't unsee?
I was 4 years old and I went with my mother and we went to Mauritius. And Mauritius is, if you're South African, it's often a getaway. And I lost my teddy bear. And it was the most traumatic thing that could happen to me. And ever since that moment, I probably continued my whole life looking for that teddy bear, and I'm out on the road doing it. But there was a moment of understanding loss and understanding me outside of myself at 4 years old that I somehow carried with myself. And then as an adult, or as a young adult, I should say, I remember heading off to New Zealand for the millennial. I was 16 or something, 15, for the millennia, right? It was the Y2K moment.
Oh my gosh.
And
yes.
I flew by myself from South Africa to New Zealand and to visit a childhood friend. We got into some big trouble. But I remember feeling like the world was open and not scary, which, I mean, oh my God, at 40, I can tell you it is scary at moments. But for the sake of this argument, I'm going to just go with I remember that feeling of sitting on that plane and thinking, oh yeah, this is what I want to do with my life. I need to go out and see and explore.
You reference Polynesian wayfinding, navigating by instinct, right? Stars, feeling, not GPS. And there's something almost, it's funny, in today's world, there's almost something kind of rebellious about that. In your own life, when you have ignored, quote, the map, the expectations, the itinerary, and trusted your internal compass instead, where did it take you?
Oh my God, such trouble. It got me into such trouble. No, I'm kidding. Of course, there are, I do this for a profession, right? So there are things that I need to do and see. And I've just come in from Kenya last week. I'm heading to Korea this week. And there are obviously things that I need to do because it's partially a work trip. Well, it's always a little work, a little pleasure, as I like to say. But there are things that I want to see. And then I very, very purposefully, I'm traveling with my best friend Mary on this particular trip. My husband just decided he's not coming. And I like to put my phone in my pocket at some point and just ignore it and see where it takes me. And often it takes me to places where I would see an art gallery that perhaps is not on the hot lists, right? These magazines, which I write for, often publish these lists. And then what happens is everybody goes to all the same places and no one's going to the very interesting gallery that's just down the street. Or it takes you to a place that I need to ask for directions, or I need to ask for where's a great coffee shop. And then you end up meeting people. And in fact, some of the best friends that I've made in my whole life, some of the people that I am closest with, this is how we met. In fact, one of my childhood best friends, we met in a mall. And I saw her and I just started talking to her. And that was almost 30 years ago. We've been friends. So I think my way of seeing the world is that the minute you put these maps down, there is, of course, a moment where you're sitting with a bit of fear and a bit of the unknown. But that's the wayfinding, right? That's the life-changing opportunity that's coming to you. And if you take it, well, what's the worst that could happen?
I love that. And you talk about beauty and blunder living side by side. And I love that because most of us try to edit out the messy parts when we're, on holiday or on travel or exploring. What's a travel mistake that maybe ended up giving you something more meaningful than anything you could have ever planned?
Wow, there's so many. I make so many mistakes. How could I possibly choose? I think often a flight gets canceled, and I end up having to be in a funny place where I wouldn't necessarily want to be, right? Edmonton or Calgary in Canada, right? I went heli snowboarding. Of course, there's all kinds of weather in those that area of Canada, and I got stranded in this like little town in Canada. No shade to them, but it's not necessarily a place that I would have thought of going. And of course, I don't stay at the airport hotel. I go to town. I find whatever the coolest hotel is in town. I try and see if there's a nice restaurant. I speak to the concierge. I speak to other hotel guests. I went to sauna. I met somebody in the sauna. They told me about a cool bar. And that's the way that I sort of live my life. Like I try and just allow the mistakes to reveal something new. So often it has to do with something goes wrong, but then often it's a mistake that I may have made. Like I've booked the wrong nights at a hotel and then arrived and couldn't, there was nowhere for me to stay, and I had to sort of problem solve. And that's the stuff that either you can choose for that stuff to panic you and freak you out, or you can let that be an opportunity to quickly scramble to get an Airbnb and then end up having a party with some of the neighbors. Like those things happen to me all the time.
Your audience includes the luxurious traveler, but the way you describe your journeys, luxury doesn't always mean 5 stars. It might feel more emotional than, say, material. What's the most maybe luxurious moment, Daniel, you've ever experienced that money couldn't buy?
Well, the most recent luxurious experience that I've had was this morning. I went out to the park with my friend, fabulous friend. She works for the Foreign Office in counterintelligence. So we were having an interesting conversation, and it was my dog and her dog. And we just sort of walked in the park, and the light was coming up. And Madrid has a very special light. It has to do with where it is geographically, and also the sort of the height of the city. It's up on a hill. It's why the Arabs built it here, for the quality of light. And there was a moment where I just thought, oh, this is it. This is so luxurious. I got up, I had a coffee, and I could walk in my city. And it was beautiful. The flowers are coming out. Springtime's here. And I've done private jets. I've done all the things, like boots down, hello. Like I've done it all. But the thing that's magical for me is like, I was with my husband where, we were in Joshua Tree, like watching the stars, sitting outside, and it was quiet, and some coyotes came out and we started howling with them. And there was something primal and beautiful. And that didn't cost any money. It was just that moment. Last week in Kenya, I was laying on a hot rock, and the Samburu people, I was spending time in Sarara, which is the northern part of Kenya. The Samburu people were chanting and dancing and jumping. They also jump in a similar way to the Maasai warriors. And there was a thunderstorm in the distance, and the air was hot. And it felt meaningful and wonderful. And it wasn't 5-star. It was the opposite, right? It was like glamping but it was a feeling more than what people think luxury is. So I call luxury space, time, and freedom. Those are the things that really feel luxurious to me.
I think about it, like you've written for the biggest publications in the world, but Wayfinder feels very different. It's more intimate, as this medium can be, more human. What story did you feel like maybe you couldn't, Daniel, tell in print, but finally got to tell through your voice on this podcast?
That's such a lovely question, because I feel often of course, I've been writing for these publications for 2 decades, and it's wonderful, and it's built my career. But there is something very special that we're doing with Wayfinder, and it's about showing not just the way that I see the world, but helping people, like the interviewees, steward their own journey and explain that. Like I'm giving them the space to kind of process. It's like a therapy session, really, but in the most wonderful way, where what we're doing differently that I think print won't allow is that we're holding hands, right? Like we're communing and sharing that in a very human way that we're all craving. The world is in such a disarray. It always has been. It's, some days it feels more, some days it feels less. But the world is in disarray. So the thing that we do have is we have this belief in humanity, which I do, right? Like no matter what happens, I have that. And I want people to sort of tap into that. So finding your people and holding that space with them is what we're doing with the show. And hopefully it inspires people to, yes, of course, travel, because it is a travel show. But I also hope it inspires people to be open to others, to be kind, to sort of keep, to tap into empathy and to make space with people. And that is very specifically something you do when you're sitting with someone.
Daniel, we're sitting here on California's Central Coast where I live, and it's right smack dab in the middle between LA and San Francisco.
I know. I have a house in Carmel, darling.
Oh, do you really? So yeah,
I know exactly where you are.
Oh, I love it. So, world-class wine country, ocean air, you're familiar, agriculture community.
Oh, yeah.
And yet we're quietly pulling in over 2.3 billion in travel annually, but somehow it still feels like a secret. When you hear about a place like this, not overexposed, but deeply rich, what's the first thing you're looking for to understand if it's truly special or just well marketed? Like, what's the signal for you that a place has soul?
Well, I'll tell you firstly how I tackle a place. I usually look for a place that serves pour over coffee, or like have a V60 or a, Chemex or something, because it means that coffee shop probably cares a little bit more than the average about the way that they're serving their coffee. Perhaps they're getting some hipster to roast it for them. Perhaps they're getting a specialized machine in there. But that's usually the place that I start in any city that I go to, because at that place, if you care about coffee, that's probably where you're going to go. And if you care about coffee, perhaps you also care about art and about design or about skateboarding or about something, and that's how I then meet people. Often this is the coffee shop that I would talk to people and they'd be like, oh, my friend's got this party, you should come. Or I have a friend who is doing an art show, art installation. I have a friend who's doing a mural. You should go see it. And that's the way that I tap into a city. Now, that said, how do I know that it has something special? Well, my husband always says this. He says if there's a lot of dogs walking around, it somehow taps into the humanity. So maybe that's a good indication. Like Madrid is filled with dogs. Luckily, people pick up the thing they need to pick up, but they have dogs everywhere. And this interesting thing moving to Madrid, my husband and I moved here recently, is people are very friendly, incredibly nice. They want to chat. They're interested in you. They're both interested and interesting, which that's the magic sauce, right? So I have to say, like, if you see the dogs, I'm usually like, oh, okay, there's some nice people who live here. Let's dig in.
I love that. What's your husband's name?
Michael.
Michael is on it. He is on that one. That is a
Michael is on it.
Great point. You talk about using.
He's always on everything. He knows everything.
I also host a popular wine podcast that talks about Paso Robles.
Oh, you do?
Wine country. Yeah, it's called Where Wine Takes You. It's done incredibly well. We're very fortunate and lucky. And Paso Robles is the best wine region on earth. And wine is such a big part of, obviously this area. And I'm curious, can wine be a form of wayfinding? Like, can a glass actually guide you deeper into a place?
Yeah. I mean, I have a fabulous friend who she is, did she just win? She won some crazy wine award. She makes wine in, oh God, it's just south from you. Now I'm glad we're taping
Santa
this
Barbara?
so you can edit this. No, she's what is just up from Santa Barbara? Solvang.
Oh, Solvang, San Luis Obispo, Santa Maria. Los Alamos. Yeah, but it's all that. It's all Santa Barbara wine country, what you're talking about there, from Solvang, from Santa Barbara proper all the way up to San Luis Obispo. It's all Santa Barbara county, whether it's Santa Maria or, yeah.
I forgot. Okay, so her name is Samra Morris. She grew up in Bosnia, and she has won all this. The winery's called Alma Rosa.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Right. San Ynez is the word I was looking for.
San Ynez,
It's the San Ynez Valley.
Yeah.
And she has, they have a tasting room, but it is unbelievable. Yeah. So I've spent time with her, and in fact, I hosted her in Carmel at Folktale Winery, who friends of mine own Folktale, and they, she came, and I made Bosnian food for her and served all her beautiful wines. She did this sort of like a tasting menu at Folktale for us. And I made Bosnian food for her to serve with the wine. And let me just tell you, she cried. Like, it brought her home. And she talked about, the sort of growing up and understanding what wine is from a Bosnian context. And she's one of the very, very few female winemakers, and never mind, she's one of the only female winemakers that have been awarded. And we had this like special sort of wine meets nostalgia of food moment. So I guess it could take you wherever you want it to take you.
Yeah, where wine takes you, right? What's interesting that you say that is, like, you figure a winemaker, and I've always been just like blown away by this, that, for 2-3 years, maybe this wine, whether when they picked it and then, however they did, whatever they did in the cellar, they've tasted this wine through its journey over and over and over again. But maybe one of the only ways a winemaker gets to taste their wine in a truly unique way that they've never had before, and they may never again, is with that meal. And that meal right there with that Bosnian cuisine. That's why it moved her so much. I truly believe that.
Yeah. Yeah, she's also a special person. Like, it takes a special person to be able to take a grape, right?
Yeah, right.
Just this very simple thing and turn it into poetry. And I come from a family of table grape farmers in South Africa, my mother's family. So we don't have that magic, but she certainly does.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And then here we are coming to table with this one bottle. We're sharing everything out of this bottle. No, there's something very special about it. All right, in the last, few seconds we have here, I kind of want to break my own rule for a second, Daniel, because I love listening to you explore the way you do. I'm just so open to it. But you spend your life asking questions, chasing stories, finding meaning in places. What would you want to know specifically about this area, about us, the Central Coast locale, if you were deciding whether it's worth the journey?
Oh, how to answer that? I love Carmel, and Carmel to me, we moved in pandemic. We escaped New York and moved to Carmel, and there was something in the stillness there that really helped soothe me through that period of time. You remember that period of time? It was insane. And that coast, and kind of driving up and down that coast and spending time there and really getting to sort of understand what California meant. It was really meaningful to me. So I guess to answer your question, to me, it just feels like people don't understand how wonderful that part of California is until you go there, right? And there's all this like kind of these iconic places, right? Like people think, oh, it's this and this and that, but it's like there's so much that you can just drive and stop and get a burrito somewhere and talk to the locals. Yeah, I don't know. Does that make sense?
It does. It's actually a beautiful way to answer, because when I think about it, and I love the way that you put that, Daniel, because you could think, what question would you ask to find the truth of a place like this? But what you're saying is, sometimes you have to immerse immerse yourself and kind of like we go back, almost circling back to the beginning of this interview, and just feel where to go, talk to those people, and really experience it to know if there is the truth of a truth to a place. So, no, I think the answer was beautiful. And I've really enjoyed, Daniel, this conversation with you. I hope you have even half as much as I did.
Thank you so much. That's very sweet. I appreciate it.
Some say life is where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again.
Such a fun chat. Truly, thank you, Daniel, for being Up and Adam, reminding us that travel isn't about where we go. It's about how we show up when we get there, with curiosity, with openness, sometimes even without a plan. You want to experience more of Daniel's work, you can link to him. Wayfinder is the name of the show, Life-Changing Travel. And again, find his writings, gosh, everywhere. Forbes, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, you know all about it. So thanks, Daniel, for being Up and Adam, my man. All right, into our favorite part about finding forever homes for dogs, even cats. We love the Woods Humane Society. Robin Coleman from Woods, what is up? 2 times in 1 week.
Should we just make this a daily chat, Adam?
I'm all for it. I love it. How you doing?
Up and Adam and Robin.
Yeah. You're like, like Batman had a Robin. Adam needs a Robin.
Yeah.
How you doing? How's your week?
Well, it's good, of course. Everybody's griping about the weather, and I have had a few bad moments, but you know, I'm a valley girl. There's something that feels comfortable about this heat. You know, I'm usually complaining that I'm cold, living in Morro Bay. And so this week I've been like, the short sleeves and going out to the beach. And, it's been a little bit of a nice change, but the last couple days have gotten a little ridiculous.
I know. Oh, at home, it's like, what? I got to put on clothes? What are pants? What are shorts even these days, right? It's like...
And the poor dogs. Like everywhere I ran around this week, I was looking and people were still walking their dogs out on the sidewalks and the streets. And just a reminder, oh my gosh, it's so hot for our pets. So keep them safe. We don't need to take them on long hikes. Even the beach sand gets super hot and we don't think about it. Their little paws are very sensitive. They do not sweat. They get overheated. Make sure you're giving them lots of shade, lots of water, and maybe just some playing inside. And point that fan on them like I'm sure you're doing, Adam.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my Alex Farrington, who listens to the show and is always a great correspondent, he sent me something on Reddit. A dude got bit in Morro Bay by a rattlesnake. I mean, so when it's this hot, you're on a walk.
Never know.
You never know. Like your dogs are snooping around in the grass. You think you'd be worried about ticks, but no. I mean, like rattlesnakes are out in weather like this, so you got to be really, really careful.
Okay, I'm scared now to walk to the beach.
Yeah, you wouldn't think Morro Bay too, but I mean, I guess they're everywhere. When the weather's like this, they're out. So
great.
We got 2 really cute dogs, and this is what you call a bonded pair. Explain what that means again.
Yes. Oh, we are going to need all paws on deck for this. All of your listeners to find Woods Humane Society, Instagram and Facebook, and share this sweet story. Bonded pairs, something that Woods does that not a lot of shelters do. We get it. It's a harder ask. We are talking about 2 adult dogs. So this case, it's dogs. We do cats many times. That's a little bit of an easier ask. But listen, when you adopt a bonded pair of animals that have already lived together, they've grown up together, these are brothers. These were siblings in a litter that got adopted many years ago from the county shelter, and recently, no fault of theirs, ended up back at the county shelter. We brought them over to Woods because we know that's their best chance of adoption. We thought about not keeping them bonded. It's going to be an easier ask for us, and they will get adopted quicker. But man, did we realize right away, these boys love each other. They need each other. They belong together. They have lived their whole lives together, and we want to keep them together. And we are committed to doing that. That's why they're our pets of the week. I'm talking about our sweet boys, Ollie and Zeus. Wow, Adam, if you have ever had a lap dog, a dog that just melts into you. These dogs run at you and then just plop in your lap. And it's like they morph into one dog. Yes, they are big boys. They are pity mixes. Their mouths are always open. Those big tongues are always hanging out. They are happy as long as they are near each other. It's, heartbreaking and, heart mending to see them because they're in separate kennels and they don't love it. And then when volunteers go walk them or they get to play together during the day and visit each other, it's like a Hallmark movie, slow motion, running to each other. And that's why we decided to go ahead and bond these boys, Ollie and Zeus. Really handsome boys, really sweet, in their previous home where they were for years, where they were around kids, they were around cats before, and they had been around other dogs. They were house trained. They just are really perfect. I know it sounds like a lot to take on 2 7-year-old dogs, but they are at a great age. They can be chill and they can also go out for adventures. They're good on leash. They sit nicely while you put their harness on them. They are such good boys. One adoption fee for both of them because we want to keep them together. Not everybody can adopt 2 dogs, but honestly, it's a little easier sometimes because they already have each other. If you need to go, they have each other. You don't have to worry about finding another dog that they might like. This is what we call a bonded pair. We love them. If anybody meets them, every volunteer note that I read, and we have a vast different amounts of volunteers, like old people, young people, men, women, all different types of likes and what dogs they like and all that stuff. Every single note, sweet, sweet, sweet boys. These dogs are so sweet. Sweet was the number one word used to describe these sweet boys.
Well, also just think of the way they'll gel into a home when they have that much less anxiety because they got their bro right there, so
yeah, because if we split them up, it's going to be a harder transition for them to get into.
Oh, these are cuties, really cute dogs. The white one almost has like just the spot missing. It looks like a Spuds McKenzie kind of dog, just super cute, smiley, beautiful faces. What else that was going on?
Check out the video because I know I say that every week, but please go take a minute today, look on Woods Humane Society social media, look at their video. They are just melted into our laps. They are so cute, and you can help us by sharing, tagging. A lot of people give us hearts, but we need more people to see this post. Some pity lover out there is going to be these dogs' heroes. So please listen to me this week and go to our social media and share. And Adam, we've been talking about events, rosé, lots of fun stuff coming up this time of year. Wine for Paws is around the corner, but I've got 2 sweet events that I wanted to share. Next week is our next Pause to Remember Pet Loss Support Group. If you remember, we partnered with Hospice of Slow recently to finally offer some pet loss support groups in this community of animal lovers. It's free, it's confidential, you don't need to sign up. Every day we're getting calls or we run into somebody who just had to say goodbye to a loved pet. Bring them to the support group. If you are still dealing with some feelings and missing them, let us help you heal. Let us give you some tools. Let us just be in a group of people that understand what we're going through. So Pause to Remember with Hospice of Slow out at Woods next Thursday from 3 to 4. Just show up and we will help you heal. And then we're also getting ready for baby season, which is an adorable season, but we get inundated with kittens and puppies this time of year. Kittens are coming. We have started to see babies being born and they're going out into foster homes. Woods has a kitten shower every year to kind of get supplies ready and also to let people know what it is to foster kittens. It's a great experience. It's a great thing for family, great thing for kids to be a part of. We need kitten fosters to help so many kittens during the next several months. And that's going to be March 29th from 12 to 2. We're going to do some demos, learn how to feed baby kittens. We have our youth programs to do some crafts, some refreshments. But if you've ever thought about how you can help kittens, this would be the event to come to. Or if you just want to bring a little kitten shower gift and have some fun with our kittens. It's not an adoption event because they're too young, but that will be March 29th. And all of these events are on our website, woodshumane.org, events calendar, and you can click on those dates to find out more information.
Love it. Robin Coleman, Woods Humane Society. Go to woodshumane.org. Robin, as always, we appreciate you more than you know. Thank you for your good work and thank you for being Up and Adam.
Oh, you got it. Anytime.
It's Up and Adam with Adam Montiel.
These two, bonded pair, sweet souls, the faces on these two. And no doubt it is going to be a simpler transition into the home when you have them together because they're paired up, they're feeling good, they got no anxiety. They're buds. whatshumane.org. Check the links in the show notes. It is Friday. Tonight, still tickets available to see Dan Curcio, Moonshiner Collective, Slow Brew Rock, moonshinercollective.com. Make sure you stream them wherever you get your music. I thank him and them for original music on this show called Start Again. Also to our friends at Timbre Winery, Timbre. Taste their world-class wines in the village of Arroyo Grande. TimbreWinery.com. I enthusiastically and wholeheartedly thank them for the Timbre Lowbro Studios. And you, thank you so much for connecting. Got a brand new episode of Where Wine Takes You, my podcast with Paso Wine. And we're taking things a little bit of a detour. We're going a little south to Atascadero. We're talking about Paso Wine in Atascadero. We've been talking about here how Atascadero is blowing up. They're doing a great job. This new episode of Where Wine Takes You, we talked to Marin Walgamot from Marin's Vineyard, also Ryan Kirkpatrick from Ruby Cellars. And I tell you, this was a fun chat. We had a blast, and they both make insane good wines. I was super impressed, and I just loved the conversation. I really think you will too. So check out Where Wine Takes You wherever you're listening to this. You can listen to that. It is a top 10 wine podcast in the country, and it is a top 1% globally rated podcast. And it's coming right out of here from yours truly. And you know, us right here, Up and Adam, a top 2%. Yeah. We are downloaded in all 50 states and over 100 countries. Can you believe that? Just doing what I did in radio, but now the future, digital, baby. We are beyond FM, and we are because of you. You listening. Thank you so, so much. This could not be this without you. Thank you for sharing this with a friend. If you can, letting folks know, spreading the love and welcoming others in this community. It just means so, so much. Rating, reviewing, subscribing to the podcast wherever you listen. I cannot thank you enough, especially on Apple Podcasts. You just hit 5 stars or even take 30 seconds and write a review. I'm talking, it gives you traction. It puts, if a couple people did this, it would literally put this show on the charts on the days it's not. That's how incredible that algorithmic, sensational dynamics are, whatever. It's Friday, I'm out of here. Enough of me. Looking forward to chatting with you Monday. We're going to have on the show a local sensation, chocolatier, pastry chef extraordinaire, Florencia Breda. This gal, she is this young woman who is being featured now on the Food Network's Ultimate Baking Championship. She is no joke. She continues to outlast these episodes because now they're like, it's an elimination thing. So this woman is so good. I've been following her and loving her chocolates for years. She had a little kind of car, like a case of her chocolates. She was renting a spot in Mistura from Chef Nicola Allegretta. And now she's got her own spot in Slow. She's killing it. And she's on Food Network's Ultimate Baking Championship. And she's going to be on our show Monday. The show airs on Monday, so we'll talk about her before episode 3. Cannot wait to share her with you and this conversation because she is just an impressively talented woman. All right, till then, have a great weekend. Don't bake, hydrate yourself. You look great today, by the way. Feeling good? I hope you are. Enjoy it. Talk Monday. Thank you so much for being Up and Adam.
Some say life's where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again. Let's start again.